Sounds of Mikasa with Love Is. Great show today. Started the show fantastically well. Our new weekly feature with Darren Morris from The Lucky Hustle. We get to talk to entrepreneurs about how lucky their hustle has been and what's the journey been like. Somebody who's been in our show before, and as you know, the purpose of the Social Impact Show on a weekly basis, Mondays to Fridays, 9 to 12, is to talk to inspirational South Africans. South Africans that think about how to change the lives of others. I often joke that I think these people have no social lives because all they do is they think about how to improve the lives of other people, and it's their mission, it's their purpose in life. And somebody who's written a couple of books, but is quite an inspirational person. I follow him on social media. I'm not saying you should, I do. He's written a couple of books, but the one we're talking about today, so he's written SunnyMotiv. He's got a new one, My Life Confused, which is this transformational guide to healing and personal growth. But he's a Reiki healer, a motivational speaker. He's an actor, presenter, comedian. You should know him by now. Sunil Osman, good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning. Good to be here.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm alright. I do have a bit of a social life, which does include taking naps now and then.
Yeah. You know, because I think it's hard to constantly think about changing other people's lives. I think it is hard. I don't think we know how hard it is on the people who constantly think about that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you know, you have to find the people that want to change, because not everybody's on that level of consciousness. They're sometimes, you know what, okay, let me just do what society wants me to do. I don't need to change, I don't need to transform. And those are the hard ones to get through, but you know, you got to choose your tribe, and your tribe will follow you at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think so. And I think the other thing also that's important is that once someone has identified, and this is what I love about your energy, is that you have such an open energy that once that person is ready to transform their lives, they're going to find a willing person to walk on the journey with them.
That's correct. I mean, and you know, I'm a creator of transformation. I mean, I've had to come to that conclusion. There are 3 words: creator of transformation. Just fact everything else.
On your tombstone.
There we go.
On your tombstone, that's what's going to be put there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And those people that want to change are the ones that will approach. And sometimes you'll find people will approach you, and then they'll go, okay, no, this is too much. I can't do this anymore. And that's part of the reason I wrote the second book the way I did, because to help the people, to guide them in a way to go, okay, I can deal with this now, but I need a couple of more days just to process other things too.
Yeah, and I think that's a perfect segue to talk about the book, because it's called My Life Confused.
Yes.
And I think, and you can correct me, and I'm happy to be silly on this, but I think that when you write books, you are writing guides, right? Correct. You're telling stories, and you want people to be able to take the nuggets and work for them.
Correct.
But I always think that if you look at SunnyMotiv and you look at My Life Confused, it's actually a dual set as opposed to an individual book.
No, absolutely. And I mean, even in the My Life Confused, I mentioned that having SunnyMotiv first is probably a working an advantage, not a prerequisite, but it will help you understand My Life Confused. I mean, My Life Confused originally started as an autobiography, and then my publisher at the time, Lauren Moy, said, you know what, you have the ability to help people change their lives. How can we make this different? So it's now a step-by-step guide. 21 step-by-step guide. I never thought I'd be the guy who go, here's a step-by-step guide. Go ahead, and here's 21 steps to follow.
Yeah.
But I had to eventually incorporate some of my own life experiences in there to make it more real. Because I find lots of these guides out there, no offense to any other author out there, they use a lot of theory which people don't understand. It's on another level. They want to hear about really who is Sunil Osman, really what happened to him. And the chapters have been adapted in such a way that you can take the step-by-step to navigate your life, and you can see experiences that happened to me myself to show you how to then navigate for yourself to just get through this thing called life.
Yeah, because lived experience, I think, is such an important tool, and it humanizes the struggle in a way that the theoretical thinking and all the data sets, and we did studies on X and Y and Z, sometimes I think goes over the head of the ordinary person that needs to just understand, I was in this situation, I felt confused, I had these issues, this is how I dealt with it. And hopefully somewhere there's a vein of truth for you to be able to latch onto.
Yeah, the word you used earlier was the word nugget. Find that nugget in each and every life experience and transmute the energy around there, and then start growing from there. And that's part of the reason the book has been written the way it is. I mean, I expose a lot of things in there. Names have been changed because of the exposure. I speak about attempted suicides. I speak about drugs. I speak about being sexually abused. All
You
these
also
things.
your first love, the first time you fell in love, was very young age. I think it was young. You were younger than 6 or something.
Yes. So there was a stage in my life where I mean, I started believing in love at a very young age. I mean, as you said, I was younger than 6 years old. But what I wasn't used to is getting rejected, because my parents gave me so much love. Now I'm getting rejected, and I got rejected by the person at the time because they called me fat, so I couldn't play with the people. I couldn't play with exactly, which is what really happens to people on the ground. But what we don't realize the effect that has on
impact,
us right through our lives, and that's also what the book goes into.
Yeah. So when I spoke to you the last time, and we were talking about a whole host of things, but we were focusing on SunnyMotiv.
Yes.
And we were talking about kind of the life journey, how you view kind of Reiki, and it was a kind of all-encompassing conversation. The journey is obviously different from the first book to the second book.
Yes.
What was the journey like on this book?
So this book was a shorter journey. The first one was 12 years.
Yeah, I know. You told me, wow.
Yeah, this
a
one.
decade plus.
Yeah, exactly. And this one took a good 4 years. I mean, I'm very blessed to have Lauren Moy Publishing, who was there guiding me at all times and helping me put the things together to help to get the most out of it. It was self-exploratory, and you realize how much you yourself have gotten through, and then you meet
stuff you survive.
And stuff you survive that some people don't survive. You have I mean, a friend of mine committed suicide just a couple of days ago. And
my condolences to you.
Thank you. Depression and all those things. It speaks about all those things.
That's rough.
But now, how do you get through it? I'm kind of okay about it, because you can't explain why, and they make their decision. Yeah. But were the steps taken for
some kind of intervention?
Some intervention. I mean, the family very boldly said that he's been suffering with depression for a long time. But okay, so what was being done by it? Is it a family that says, oh, depression doesn't exist, or is it a family that says?
And so many of ours do.
Exactly, and what's depression? It's like the whole, when I was younger, I used to walk to school. There were no
Which
Ubers.
We've all heard.
Exactly.
We've all heard that story. I don't know why, but we've all heard it.
Yeah, but times are changing, and one of the things that I spoke about last time, I think as well, is people haven't spoken enough about the impact which that lockdown during COVID had many, many years ago, and how it's still playing out on people's minds.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of unspoken truths out there, and that's part of the reason I like to be here with you.
Yeah.
Truth.
You put this book together, and I wonder now, with what you admitted, thanks for taking us in your confidence and talking about this loss, because I think you are still going through that process, and there's still a lot coming that you have to deal with. But when you look at that loss and as such a close friend, and I don't want to sound silly about it, but you almost wish that they had access to My Life Confused, because perhaps it would have, I'm not saying it would have, I'm just saying perhaps that person would then have had something in their life that they could lean on.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people fail us.
No, absolutely. And I mean, look, by the time I found about he's committing suicide, there had already been 6 deaths in the week. So it becomes almost normalized.
Connected to you?
Well, not directly connected, but you hear about them. I mean,
people that you've known or passed by.
That's in the industry. Exactly.
Yeah.
And it made me think about a friend of mine who stayed 5 kilometers away from me, and he overdosed on purpose, committed suicide. And you always think, okay, what could I have done to help this person? What could I have done to go out there and reach and just help him? At the end of the day, as you said earlier, not everybody wants to be helped. Some people are like, I actually cannot handle this anymore. I'm out of here. And that's part of the reason I have written the books there, to reach more people. Because not everybody wants to pay 3,500 to 7,500 rand to go to a workshop to go speak about how they want to kill themselves and how to try and better that. So the reason for the book is also to reach a wider audience around the world.
Yeah. So it's a step-by-step guide. And obviously when you apply the idea of breaking it down into those levels, it's about then practical application.
Yes.
What is the journey you want the reader to go on with My Life Confused? First of all, before we even answer that question, why My Life Confused?
So about 2004 was how many years ago?
No. That's not failing us at this moment, but it was a while ago.
Yeah, so I was chatting to
It was about 20 years ago?
yeah, so I was chatting to my dad on a conversation. I was working for the national government at that time. I won't do that again. And
for many reasons.
And he says, you should write a book. And I'm like, what do I call it? He says, My Life Confused. And that's what the title has been sticking there since 2004. SunnyMotiv came along that journey, so it had to be done first. It is part of the process, part of what I was guided to do. And then there's a subtitle, which is Somebody Light a Candle to Dispel This Darkness. So
I love that.
It's about helping people to realize that life is confusing. I mean, you look at Sam Marshall, look at Sunil Osman, look at all these people. You go, oh, look at we spoke about this the last time. Look at their social media and how amazing they look. No. Actually, there's a whole lot of little bricks that have to come together
that you don't see.
And sometimes those bricks
you can't see.
And sometimes the cement is not strong enough. Those bricks will fall out, and you have to go back again.
So this, and I think about this. This title has been developing for 20 years.
That's correct.
The content, and what you're saying to me is the content has been developing for 20 years. It's not because it might have taken you less time to write the book, but it's 20 years in the making.
That's right. It's actually more than 20 years, because within the book I speak about things that have formed me who I am from the time I was 5 years old. And for me that's so important, because people want to have things they can relate to. And I had to make it not me, which is why I took those time to write it, because it needs to apply to as many people as possible. Go, oh, he also tried to do the drugs for a week to try and kill himself. But why did he do that? Did I go through that? How can I relate to this? Do I relate to this? And that's why there's a journal aspect within the book as well.
That allows you to
scribble.
To scribble, and which is kind of clever, because if you're reading something and something jumps out at you, you can use it. Then the book is more than just a reference guide or transformational book. It becomes a tool.
That's it.
And tools are things we use.
That's it. And also, even though it's a 21-day step-by-step program, navigate yourself, if you stop at day 5 and go, actually, you know what, I need to process this thing, and I'm really hoping
that is important.
A lot of people go,
This
okay.
is not a let's consume all of it at once.
Exactly.
This is a kind of journey, on a roadmap.
Exactly. I am doing guiding and healing and transforming, but you must choose your own pace. We live in such an instant gratification society where you have to get everything done right now. You have to go there, you must do this. You know what? Slow down, pace yourself, and if step 1 is too much for you, breathe, put the book down, carry on.
Go and think about it.
In fact,
reflect on it.
Come back and write on the other page.
Yeah.
So some of the chapters will actually have things where it's asked you to write down 5 things that, the whole I am statement. Yeah, write down the I am this, I am that. If you come back 2 days later, go write some more. It's not saying if you put more than 5, then you're failing yourself, failing the book. No, it's easy.
No judgment.
No judgment. There we go.
No judgment.
Absolutely.
Sunil, why do we as ordinary people, so let's use a very practical example, the Springboks.
Yes.
Sia and the team, even at the highest level, Jean de Villiers at the highest level, outperforms the rest of the world. They're World Cup winners. They, on and off the field, they seem exemplary. But what we don't know is that they have access to people that understand psychology. They have access to tools to help them to be better people. Why do we as ordinary people don't think like that? We think that the process of helping oneself is too expensive, but we don't mind spending money on KFC and eating all these bad things. And I'm no judgment. I'm just saying that's what some people do. And we put value on the wrong things. But yet the most successful people do it. It's part of their lives. You have Fortune 500 CEOs that have coaches, have wellness coaches.
Yes.
And yet you have a guy on his way to work who thinks he doesn't need it.
Yeah, or he wants to kill himself. He's like, I can't afford this, so now my life is over.
Yeah, and yet at the highest level, they make the time. People will tell you that even on their way to the top, they use these tools because they exist. You've now created a tool. I just wonder why we don't invest in ourselves in that way.
Yeah. So part of the reason the book's not going to be highly priced is because I want more people to access it. I mean, obviously there's costs I have to cover, you know.
For sure.
But I mean, you must remember that many people in a high-profile position, and I associate with some of them. I know some of them. They have a reputation and a persona they have to perceive. They have to show the people that I am fine all the time, and then we get the
crash.
The crash. When the crash is so hard, then they say things like, "I just wish I could be more real and truthful." That is when you start hearing about the fact that they have the wellness coach, that they're being depressed, or that they actually go for Botox, or whatever it may be. And it's so important that people realize that behind everything, behind this microphone, behind you, behind me, there is a story. Everybody has a story. But society likes to box and define. It makes it easier
to deal with you.
Subconscious biases are always going to be there. We all have them. You see a guy standing at the traffic light and he's actually just crossing the street. You immediately close your window because you think he's going to start begging. No, he's actually just wanting to cross the street.
Yeah.
We have a subconscious bias. And then with that bias comes the definition of, okay, they're Indian, they must like curry. Silly example, but you know what I'm saying. I mean, you spoke about she's from Cape Town the other day. You know?
Apart from the fact that a fair amount of Indians like curry, but I agree with you. And unfortunately, if we don't do the work, it's the thing you're always going to have. That it's going to be the thing on your shoulder. I don't want to say monkey, but it's going to be something on your back because you're not willing to do the work.
Absolutely.
And all of us, I don't care who you are, whether you are a truck driver, whether you are a CEO, a VP, an MD, whether you are the head of marketing, whether you are a tea lady, we all have to do the work.
Yes, and some people don't want to.
But we have to do the work because we then live better lives.
Yes.
We're better partners, we're better friends, we're more connected. We have to do the work.
A lot of the work comes down to eventually you living in a place of truth and speaking from a place of truth instead of just the brain. I'll give you a small example. When I was a finalist for Mr. South Africa, I think it was 2019.
Aren't you now nominated as most influential person in 2025?
Yes, I'm being awarded.
Yeah, you are.
I'm being honored at an award ceremony.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm trying to lose weight till by then. Because I also
That's
have to.
the worst. That's the worst. When you're like, I've got an event, but I'm not happy with the extra kg. Or like,
No, I'm actually very, very honored and
Yeah.
humbled by it. But I mean, come back to that example of Mr. South Africa.
Yeah.
You know, in 2019, when I was part of Mr. South Africa, then there was a lot of people going, oh, but we know the truth behind you and what you've done and where you go and where you partied, what you've drunk and this and that. I'm like, cool. You know what? People know about that already. I don't have anything to hide. And part of doing the work is finding things that you don't have to hide from.
Yeah.
Because then
somebody
goes, oh yeah, and I saw you at the pub and drinking and dancing on the table. I'm like, yeah, that's true. Oh, but we're gonna tell the media about it. I'm like, please go ahead. There is nothing more comfortable and wonderful being in that energy where you go, please go ahead, tell them.
Yeah. And I think, but yet again, that comes with doing the work. That's having understanding that there are resources, and the resources, it's online, it's through books like this. If you want to pay for it, it's at libraries, it is in communities, it's with friends that you look up to, that you respect. It's widening your circle. It's going outside your comfort zone. It's doing, but the resources are there, and we can all of us, I don't care who you are, can live 1, 2, 3, 4, 5% a better life.
Swallow the ego and the pride, take the step. It is the hardest thing to do. Go, okay, you know what? I need to work on this right now. Do I really need to let me run away from it rather?
Because it catches up with you eventually.
Exactly.
It does catch up with you. Whatever that trauma is, whatever you're hiding, whatever it is, it catches up with you.
Yeah.
And I think this My Life Confused, through the work that you're doing, is going to offer you that guide. Very quickly, where can people go as we head towards the news? Where can people go? Where can they find out more about the book? I know for a fact, because I follow you, it's on pre-order at the moment.
Yes, the book is on pre-order until the end of today, in fact. And if somebody doesn't have SunnyMotiv and they order My Life Confused, they'll only pay 350 Rand for both books, excluding packaging.
Great deal.
If you have SunnyMotiv, then you only pay 250 Rand. And again, excluding the delivery costs. But then when it does go online during April, the price is going to increase quite a bit. And I'm actually have an exclusive limited offer for bulk orders. So if you have a bulk order, we can negotiate a little price discount. And I'm doing, if required, an optional workshop for you as well. All books will be signed with the pre-orders. Every book will be signed, and if it's and have a signature day, we just call it that. Then we can even write a personal note for every single person, and I go into a silent meditation very quickly for each person, maybe touch their arm and the shoulder, and write whatever message comes through into the cover.
Okay. Okay, it's called My Life Confused. It's from Sunil Osman. You can go to the website www.sunilosman. Let me spell it for you. SUNILOSMAN.com. And you can also email Sunil at sunilosman.com. The book is called My Life Confused. And he's a actor, presenter, comedian, Reiki healer, motivational speaker. And this is his new offering. And you know what we love to do on the show, because the show is all about positivity. We need to support South Africans who are thinking about making South Africa a great country.